Good evening, good day, good night, fans around the world. Welcome to Real's Tennis Fans Podcast. We are somewhere in the 50s. I put 57 for now, but I'm sure it's closer to 60 than 57. But welcome to another exciting podcast. I know everyone is talking about our Sergey and our Maria podcast, but today it's just us here today. We got no controversy. Tennis has been rather quiet.
Boo.
And in order to, in this quiet period, we brought ourselves along a meteorologist to help us. Hopefully, he can kick things up a notch with us. But I'm going to introduce my guest first, and then I'm going to introduce our ladies. So, say hello. Who's at the door today is? Hello? Who's
Hello.
Renee?
Yeah.
Oh, hi. You need to introduce yourself. You've rang the doorbell and, What's going on, Mr. Denfeld? How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I just got back from the lovely and very quaint tournament in Halle, northern Germany. And
same one with Florian Mayer won?
Same one that Florian Mayer won, yeah.
Okay, we'll get into that tea in a little bit. If they could fix basketball, certainly y'all could fix a little tennis, right?
Oh, shit. God damn.
I don't know what that is, but let's not go. Look at it. Let me introduce my co-hostess, the mostesses. We have Andrine from Solely Tennis Travel.
Hello.
And
Checking
we have
in with a glass of sparkling wine, so we all have to acknowledge what we're drinking.
Oh, Real's got nothing. He got nothing.
Oh, shit.
And we have Janina from Ohio, and she is all revved and rammed for basketball. But, she decided to grace us with her presence right now.
Get a little bit of time. Hello, checking in with a margarita.
Oh. And Renee, what are you drinking?
I'm having lovely homemade cider. A glass of it. I felt I'd earned it after driving down the German Autobahn for the best part of the last 5 hours. So
I need to know how fast you went.
I need to know who made that cider. That's what I need to know.
I went about 100 miles an hour.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Not all the time, but you can go roughly 100 miles an hour.
I do that on my way to work, but I have to be careful that the police aren't around.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the good thing is we don't have that sort of issue here, at least on most parts on the streets, on the motorway, and we can just roll. That's quite nice.
I need to come
So
to
how many
Germany.
people die daily?
Intrigued.
Listen, people are randomly going up to 100 miles an hour.
I know we're talking about drinks and driving, but
Not everyone is a good driver.
but
I'm a
Renee,
great
we are
driver.
so happy that you raced all night to get to us. Okay? And
all night. I race all night, every night.
You're such a rock star.
All day.
Cue that
every
Celine Dion song, which we can't play, otherwise we'll get blocked on for copyright infringement.
Okay, so really we're here for the tennis, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we can
aren't
totally talk
always?
basketball.
Oh,
No, we're not talking basketball.
Nobody had time.
Get your life
Okay.
together.
Okay,
Your life.
sorry.
Who got time for basketball? I mean, we all have a fixed game. Nobody got time for that shit. We're here
Game
talking about
7.
tennis, which is
God.
unpredictable. We never know the outcome.
Never.
But anyway, never. So, Renee, before we get into you, we know we have you here and you're going to tell us all about Halle. Let's talk about the the WTA.
Ooh, one quick question. I didn't know. Renee, did you go to Stuttgart at all, or did you just do Halle?
No. I did Halle because I went to the weekend before that. I went to Lille to watch the European Football Championships and watched Germany against Ukraine. So
Ooh, how was that?
That was very, very interesting. Very unique experience. Something I had not done before, and very enjoyable, fantastic weekend there. Bit stressful driving from Lille back to Frankfurt, which was a 6-hour drive, and then driving up to Halle on the same day, which was a 4-hour drive. So driving, but it would have been better if it hadn't been pissing down all week. So
Oh.
Does that mean
I
rain?
don't know. Yes. Yes. I do not know what's going on in Europe.
But you all won, right? The Germans won, no?
We won that one. Yeah. It was fun. It was good fun. Very entertaining.
You went alone?
No, what my friend.
Okay.
I was like, hey, let's go. What?
Nothing. I don't know what's Gina's problem. I'm just asking because there's a lot
Who'd
of
you go
driving by
with? A friend? Okay, I hear you.
I'm sorry, that's my mother. She's always like, "Did you go with a friend?"
I mean, like,
your friend?
So, are you gonna go with an enemy? No, Mom. I'm
No,
going
Mom.
with.
I mean,
Anyway.
well, I'm glad you had fun. I want to do that one day. I totally want to be at a football game. That just looks like the most electric atmosphere ever.
It's usually electric for another reason, and I'm gonna be watching it on television. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. I didn't feel endangered by anyone at any point, so it was good.
You wouldn't feel that way, Renee, but
No.
the chocolates usually get themselves into trouble in those areas.
Do they really?
Yes, they do. They're the recruitment ground for neo-Nazis. They've been trying to stomp it out for years. Oh, I'm not talking about in Germany. I'm just talking about generally around Europe.
You're talking about football in general.
No,
I don't even.
I feel
like we need to go off air and start over.
Okay, no, we do not. No, we do not. Yeah,
We'll keep going.
We'll keep going. Anyway, folks, we're crazy here.
All right.
So, Renee,
you said
we're gonna talk about the ladies. Yes, of course. Okay. I'm just saying, already no worry, we can ladies. And I have to say, apparently, Coco Vandeweghe decided she's gonna be playing tennis this week again.
Every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks.
Coco girl, you should save this 2 weeks for Wimbledon because I could see your future and you're going off first round.
No, you said that before, but no, she didn't win the title. She saved herself.
Okay.
All right, Renee, what's your take on Coco?
Coco this year?
Good 2 weeks. Good 2 weeks for Coco and Grass, right? Good for her to,
Yeah.
Good for her to get title semi-final points under her belt. Maybe cushion the blow a little bit for Wimbledon when she's got quarterfinal points to defend. And it's good that she's going to be seeded there. It would be a bit of a travesty if she wasn't seeded actually because she's like one of the best 30 players on grass. Not going to say she's one of the best 15, one of the best 10, one of the best 20, but should be within the top 30. And
currently she's 33, but Maria ain't in it, so she's definitely. She'll be 30, because Flavia
and also they do reseeding at Wimbledon, don't they, based on grass points?
Theoretically, they do it on the men's side, but they
rarely ever do it on the women.
Rarely ever do it on the women's side.
I think the last time was with Venus. I think at one point.
It's so sexist.
Yeah. It's just.
That's probably just some sort of weird holdover from tradition that no one's ever thought to go, hey, you want to do that on the WTA side? I mean, or is it so deliberate? You know what I mean? Like, why does that not happen, do you think?
I think the idea that I think the women is sort of like anyone can get in there sometimes.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, also I think
grass points. Did they not have enough lead-up grass tournaments maybe beforehand?
Well, I guess
they have just as many grass tune-ups as the men.
For men and women, it's about the same.
So why?
I don't know why.
Because why bother when you just put one women's match on center court each time or on court one?
I'm sure.
No, I was. You know what? I was just asking because I thought there was actually like a rational reason as opposed to just like a sexist.
No,
don't be silly. It's Wimbledon.
Okay.
Well, they have vaginas and they have penises, and that's the way it is. We receive the penises and believe the vaginas for themselves. How can it work?
Weird.
So then, Coco Vandeweghe last week.
Vaginas, but anyway.
Yes, Renee's the Coco Vandeweghe this week. Yeah.
But good week for her. Losing to Streets of Grass is nothing to be ashamed of, I think.
What happened? Because you know what? When I started, I caught just like the first set, and Coco seemed very comfortable and was fine, and it was in complete control, and Barbara seemed at a loss. And then I come back and I see that Barbara won it in 3.
Well, if your serve isn't popping all the time, you put yourself at risk with Street Device and the Pro. Plus, they have been I think plus it was like very sloppy scheduling. I think they were. Friday or Thursday, they were still playing second round matches.
Yeah.
So so they had to double up. So I guess exhaustion started kicking for a lot of these players, and people like Carla especially, she had to play doubles and singles, I think it was. So and Streetova had to play doubles too. So it was sort of like a messy up and down. It didn't really help. Like they just like it's just like a rest period between one match, basically. Like, oh, you play your match now, another match goes on, then you play again the next match. So I think perhaps Coco probably felt the exhaustion. That might have been it too. And I think she too played doubles, right? So a lot of them were doubling up. So that probably was the issue for her. But I'm impressed, and way to go, Madison Keys, for taking the title. And also, apparently, Madison Keys is the first American to make it to the top 10 after Serena. Jesus fucking Christ! Are you
so
people
weird
kidding me?
sounding. It's so weird.
I was asked that as a trivia question at some point this week in Halle by someone. Was like, do you know who was the last American to make the top 10? And I was like, and I was thinking for about 15 seconds. And I was like, I don't remember anyone before Serena 1999. And the answer was, you're correct. And I was like, shut the front door. Because it's like 16 or 17 years without a new American making top 10.
That's insane.
That is ridiculous.
Well, you know what it is? It's because when people make sort of a small march, there's such hype that it can take you a little bit of time to realize that they haven't really gone very far. Like, I mean, I think people would probably have assumed that Sloane had done something, but to our shock, she never quite made it. Yeah, she never made it over that bar. But you read so much about her that there might have been a point where you thought, well, she's probably top 10, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you see, for me, so when I see Coco is crying crocodile tears that she didn't make the Olympic team, I was like, boo, you got two 30-year-olds in the top 10. Like, it's not their problem. It's you didn't do your shit. Like, how the hell is Venus Williams 36 years old? It's still the number 2 American. I mean, I love Venus to death.
But legitimately, Coco plays like 4 weeks. 4 weeks we remember seeing Coco. We don't see Coco often. I mean, we talk about it all the time that we start to understand Coco's name starting with the grass season. And then, poof, come the fall, where's Coco going to go? You can't play like 4 weeks and expect to get to the Olympics.
Even the Spaniards play longer than 4 weeks back in the day, right?
Well, I mean, it's just weird. Somehow, I mean, her injuries or whatever has kind of caused her to have a really patchy time period. So, I mean, it's sad for her for the Olympics. I mean, who knows? Is she an alternate? We don't have that many ladies, do we?
I don't know.
I don't think so because she's definitely not listed in doubles. She said she didn't make the team at all.
Oh dear. So, well, if they put it on grass, maybe she'll have a chance next time.
Well, that was 2012, right?
Oops. Snooze you lose then. I feel sad for Coco.
Yeah, because I don't think any place else is going to have it on grass, right?
Yeah, well, there you go. Maybe Mallorca. So that's too bad. So that's Coco. Madison Keys, congratulations. I didn't see the final. Was it compelling?
No, she just dealt with Barbara. Her serve was on,
Yeah, I think you could tell that Barbara was also starting to feel the exhaustion a little bit.
That's too bad.
But at least Barbara made finals, won doubles as well with Pliskova. So.
Oh, they did win. They were able to go through. Okay, good.
Pretty good win for
Madison.
Streetsova, and for pretty good week for Streetsova and really good win for Madison. In my opinion, backing up that Rome finals because I don't think that loss to Bertens was as awful and as earth-shatteringly bad as some people made it out to be because Bertens.
Well, given the rest of her run, I mean, the rest of her run suggested she was playing good tennis.
Also taken out Serena in the semifinals if she had been a bit luckier and maybe a bit healthier.
Yeah, right.
About that. So, pretty good couple of weeks for Madison Keys in Europe, and I think it's going to be interesting to see whether she can build on that at Wimbledon this year, and maybe for her it would be great to defend her quarterfinals points just as a benchmark or something that she could do, and that would be a fantastic result for her.
Yeah, because Madison Keys should handle should be able to handle an Aga type again if that encounter happens. No, I mean that match was really. I mean, it was. I hate to say it, but it was really on Madison's racket, and that those balls were flying. So there was a point in time when she seemed fully in control, and then she wasn't. She got a little slice.
The kid of school of tennis.
Yeah.
We miss by a country mile. We
she
don't
was
do
sliced and diced.
we don't do matches. It's either we go big or we go home. And usually we go home.
I mean, I guess that's just one thing that is important for Madison, in my opinion. It's just that she's healthy.
Yeah.
Because around this time last year, she was just having, I don't know whether it was flu or something. I think she had the flu after the French Open, wasn't healthy at all. Went into Wimbledon not entirely fit, not entirely healthy, and this week she seemed to be just that, and she seems to be just that at the moment. And I think that is cornerstone for her and really important. And if she goes into Wimbledon healthy and rests up and recovers next week, because she's pulled out of Eastbourne, as well, just like a couple of other people, I think she could have a really good run there, depending on the draw. So. And
she seems very relaxed.
What about our Grand Slam champ? What about our Grand Slam champ? Both of them actually. Kerber. How was Kerber and our lovely French Open champion as well?
Muguruza.
She lost in the first round, and I believe Kerber also lost, right?
Kerber lost to Navarro, in the quarters.
Yeah.
Oh, Carla was on it this week. Carla was not messing around. She looked like she wasn't a woman on a mission. But she was like, I like the outfit, Carla, but the hair still bothers me. I'm not gonna lie. But, she was really playing some really good tennis. That backhand was swinging freely. She was moving forward. The serve was popping. But again, the scheduling just sort of like messed up a lot of these women, and it just sort of make life very complicated for them. When it comes to Kerber, I don't remember. I definitely saw she lost to Carla, I think, if I'm not mistaken, right? Because I saw that match. And Carla was like, usually Carla sort of gives up at some point. She just say, okay, all right, then you were trying to take the match. Okay, I don't give a shit. But she was determined not to let Kerber sort of like work her way back into the match, especially in the third set. She got to save a couple break points and then try to get on it. She was showing emotions too on court. I was just like, who is this woman? Like, she decided Muguruza shouldn't have won a major before her, and I don't blame you, Carla. Muguruza just came out of the block, girl. You try to get it. But I think as for Gabi, well, you know how it works. I think someone brought out a stat that basically, nearly every new winner just keep losing the next round except Serena, I think it was.
They're all losing a match or two in the next tournaments. And
the next tournament, like Serena won the next tournament after the U.S. Open. So I don't know, like these girls just I guess social media, it's a different atmosphere, right? Because when you win, there's just so much more press and
it's not just the girls. Hello, Stan Wawrinka after winning the Australian Open.
Well,
I mean, we can't use Stan. I mean, I know people always say Stan. But
you say Marin Cilic.
Yeah, but the pattern for Stan, Stan is woefully. I mean, he's just problematic. That's just what he does. He shows up for a slam and snatches a title from somebody. That's what he does.
So are some of the other. So was Kerber. So was Muguruza. They also just showed up and snatched the title away from him.
Because they weren't doing shit for a while.
No, however, you build a storyline around Muguruza and you build a storyline around Kerber in terms of their consistency. So, I mean, because it's not as if they came out of nowhere and snatched titles. Cilic, to some degree, did that out of nowhere. And the same thing with Stan. I mean, he hadn't been known as someone who was a consistent player. He was always problematic.
I thought Stan was pretty consistent the year before he won the Australian Open.
Yes, he was. That was when he was changing, right? But that was new. That was the first time you'd ever seen Stan sort of live up to his potential when he lost to Djokovic the year before.
Yeah, I still think that the Stan Kerber comparisons are fairly accurate in my opinion. I think that is just something
those two,
that works for me. That is
hopefully they don't go to have Ivanovic. We just completely lose your way. You don't.
Yeah, because they both had that year of consistency, which then followed up with a breakout in a slam, and then a little bit of a tailspin afterwards. But you can't tell me that Kerber is somewhat of a fluke champion. You know what I mean? Because she has always been a pretty strong player.
She's the queen vulture.
I mean, kind
Yes,
of,
queen
yeah.
vulture,
I mean,
yes.
so you could, I mean, as someone like a Cilic is definitely an outlier, you know what I mean? Or maybe even the way Muguruza did it this year by not being able to really string together match wins and then
Exactly, and then she string
like
together 7.
the French, you know what I mean? So you know, to expect her to suddenly return to, well, yeah, not stringing together wins and then possibly winning Wimbledon seems like it just seems like that's her, you know, that's just her pattern.
And I also think that Muguruza is someone who's just something that she said herself, that she seems to be more of a big tournament person.
Yeah, she's a little slowish.
She just turns up more when there's
lights, cameras.
more to play for, when there's more tension, when there's maybe more lights, cameras, and that's when she just
She's ready for the big time. She likes it.
Yeah.
She likes the time.
Usually those big time players get caught up in the limelight and then lose their way really quickly because the other girls just like, wait, I can make some money too, you know, so next round money. So I would definitely, she has final point to defend at Wimbledon, so it'd be interesting to see what happens. But while we're here at Mallorca, can someone explain to me what the fuck is Mallorca doing with that center court? That just looked like a security nightmare, if you ask me. And I don't know why the fuck people are paying money to sit on some stone.
You can't sort of like enter or close it, can you? I mean, it's just like, it seems it's just like a wide open space. It's pretty. It looks beautiful though.
It's pretty and beautiful, but I mean, seriously. I mean, people are sitting on stone or concrete slabs.
Bring a little.
I don't know what that shit is. And second,
you gotta bring some cushions.
That's the way we do it in Europe. Like in the old, at older clay courts, you always sit on stones.
Really?
Yeah, like in Rome, half of the like in the Pietrangeli, you sit on stones. The back outside courts, you sit on stones. I actually really like it. I think it makes for it makes for more relaxed atmosphere when you watch tennis. I like it.
When your ass hurts.
That's what I'm saying. And people fight for seats because they can't number those spots, right? You can't number those spots.
Don't they buy those little paddings and things like that you can bring, and like little cushions like they do at other?
You can bring a cushion or something, or whatever. Yeah.
But it does give a kind of picnic atmosphere. It does feel like it feels less rigid, you know. Yeah. Well, you can't complain about Mallorca. You know why? Because there was no rain to be seen, and that's what you want.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. What I'm worried about is just like how very close the players are to regular people.
Well, like, people need to learn how to act right, and it won't be an issue.
What is
If only it were that simple, right?
Listen, Mallorca is like a small town. Mallorca's like, listen, we're a small town. We clock everyone who comes in. We know who's here. Well, you perceive it as a big security problem?
Yeah, because I mean, in light of like everything that's happened like recently, and even like some of the women the stalkers and everything, like they were so very close. I felt like the women could just literally. Someone could just like jump over a sign, a spot, you know, and then just boom, I'm hugging Anna Ivanovic.
Stop giving people ideas.
Well, I don't think I need to spur people on with this. I mean, like when I saw the pictures, I said, hopefully this is incomplete. That there is going to be something.
It did have sort of like an incomplete look to it, but it's like open theater.
Yeah, it's going to be something
in an open theater space.
Yeah, I mean,
it's pretty.
It's pretty. It's beautiful. It looks like a very wonderful atmosphere to play in. But I mean, generally, just a security reason. I mean, like, I don't know if this is like okay at all, but you know, apparently
it's a good question. I to be honest, it's not really. I've not thought about it yet, and I don't really have it in front of my eye whether there was a lot of security around the court or not. But yeah, it's something that should be entering. That we should be thinking about at all times. I agree.
But I mean, yeah. I imagine there had to be security because that players never walk on and off court by themselves. But my thing is just like security can't stop a blitz attack, right? Someone just running on court and just like pushing someone, doing something. You can't really. And I mean, thankfully, that this isn't like it's a small tournament, so like the excitement or forever that hasn't like really there. But like let's say in a couple of years, like it becomes really big and pivotal, you know, and then, you know, and this is like bigger names start coming here, etc. And then the matches seems to be more than, you know, like, ooh, who's gonna be? Because it's a very beautiful place to play, and plus, if people are really trying to be serious about their grass, they're gonna be like, I'm going to Mallorca, right? I can literally play grass and not have to worry about rain. So this is the place to be, then I think it's just like, and it's not gonna look right with like fences strung up around. But I mean, I just thought, it just had just like I just kept looking at each match I was watching. I was like, oh, fuck, like some crazy asshole is gonna jump on the court and do something. But thankfully that didn't happen. Just me. But congratulations to Garcia for winning. She had a really
nice breakthrough.
Yes, breakthrough.
Similar to Madison Keys, actually.
Yeah, I
also
think so.
keeping the kind of form that she had in her tournament before the French Open in Strasbourg, which she also won. Kept that going. She lost in the second round of the French to Aga. But she won the doubles titles at the French, so I think pretty good couple of weeks for Caroline Garcia.
So on the ladies' side, like, who do you think has? It's a little bit of a early start, but who's got your attention for Wimbledon?
In terms of based on the past 2 weeks, or in terms of
just also, maybe based on how they're turning things around on grass and who looks to be sort of coming into form.
Tough to say. I kind of really want to wait to see how Eastbourne pans out for the next couple of days, because I always feel like that is, just similar to Birmingham. Birmingham and Eastbourne together give a fairly, I think, good idea how the quote unquote rest of the field is doing, because you can never gauge what the Williams sisters are doing in between French and
Wimbledon, right?
And Wimbledon, and it just takes it puts it into a different context when you don't have a Venus or Serena, particularly Serena, playing any of the warm-up tournaments. It doesn't put an asterisk next to them, but it makes it's something I always keep at the back of my mind. And I'll be completely honest, the one person that I'm most curious about and that I've got the most questions about going into Wimbledon is Serena. Mainly just because, in my opinion, this is the one where she has to do it, because just based on the ghosts of Vinci and 2015, I don't see her doing it at the US Open if she doesn't do it at Wimbledon. My hot take.
Your very, very hot take. What do you think, Reels?
In terms of I'm sure this Wimbledon they're gonna be all about the American women. Coco and Madison Keys, definitely. She's in the top 10. She's gonna be hot property. And she has that Madison Avenue look, Madison Keys, and there's no Maria in the mix, so everyone's looking for sort of a new it girl, and she sort of like
she slide on in there.
Yeah, and she has that sort of personality. Margarita just doesn't really do it. But Madison Keys, I think, would be what they love, and whatever the case. I mean, she brings that respectability politics that they love to preach about, so she fits that mold. Coco Vandeweghe, like very much, from Sports Family, whatever. The Williams sisters, of course, Venus has been showing some sort of relatively good form at major, so she might have a sort of a resurgence. Serena, I don't care if Serena doesn't win another major. It's just how Serena stands and the crazy folks think she needs to. But I think.
Do you agree with Renee's hot take, though, that this is
No, I think Serena wants to win another slam for herself, not for any number or anything like that. She wants to win it for herself, and I think she enjoyed Wimbledon. She enjoyed dominating at Wimbledon. It is one of her safe, strong home. She's comfortable. Her game sort of plays well there, but the field is getting stronger, and the women are a little bit more consistent, and everyone is ready to have that breakthrough run. So it's a kind of thing. But whether she wins it here, I'm sure she will win a major. If she doesn't this year, again,
I think she could still win one next year. I agree. I think it'll be easier for her to win. Let's just say, I'm not saying it's like her last roll of the dice, but out of the two that are left, I think Wimbledon is the one that could be, in my head at least, easier for her than the US Open.
But I don't know, because Serena has made the semifinals all better at the US Open since 2008.
Yeah, but you just have to consider what happened last year.
Right.
And I think Renee is right. There's some ghosts floating around there, and I think it'll be easier for her to accomplish getting Wimbledon than it will be the U.S. Open. I agree.
I think that's a ghost people are going to try to the news media would love to pretend and create.
I think
And
it's very real.
right, yes and no, because and they hopping on that story is gonna lead to their own detriment because Serena's gonna be like, take a cue from Venus. I'm not showing up a fucking press conference to talk about this shit anymore.
Well, then she shouldn't. In my opinion, she shouldn't. Like, it's not. Well, just don't show up. Just don't do it. Just take the fine and say, I'm sorry. I got to do me first.
Right.
And it's something.
What's your take on that? What's your take on that? Do you feel? How do you feel about people just saying I'm not?
I think it's important for. To be honest, I think the one thing is that when players don't go to a press conference, I think they are doing themselves a slight. They're not necessarily doing themselves a favor because it allows other people to just speculate. And when you go to a press conference, you can set the record straight. But considering how
Press conference
minimal the fines are,
yeah, really,
I'd be bailing. I'd be bailing
more
so
often than not.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like just from a logical perspective, it's not. I wouldn't want it if I'm on the other side of it in the sense of that I'm sitting on the other side of the table in a press conference and I want the players to come. But if I was a player and I was not in the mood, even if it was seen as maybe unsportsmanlike, I understand it. I understand why Venus twice said, goodbye, see you next time, arrivederci.
Right. But for me,
I've been doing quarters. I think that for some top seeds, you from quarters on you're required, but below that it's a free for all. You have 2 or 3 that you can skip or something like that.
Right.
Because it's like the same people over and over anyway. So like.
And what I find is that if someone other than the journalist were the ones complaining, I would take some thought. But you see, you're just grumbling because you don't get to ask a stupid question. Yeah, you just sound like you're crying over spilled milk, spilled milk. So I mean, look. I believe players should do themselves, and particularly since I've been in press conferences and nothing really interesting is happening, and they're trying to get quotes for some of the crazy story that they're working on, and they're like asking all kind of crazy questions.
And that's not all of them, though.
I'm not saying that all of them do, but I mean, like, just sometimes, like, how many times, like, players they get annoyed, right? It's like, oh God, I'm tired of this shit now. Or like, and particularly some minor controversy happen, like they're gonna be, oh, what do you think? And then I think Serena came up with just like, I told y'all I don't do controversy anymore. And particularly hot topic at Wimbledon this year is going to be Maria Sharapova. Do you think it's fair? You know what I mean? And people just like, I don't want to talk about that. Like last year at the U.S. Open, like everyone was being asked about Serena, just everyone, the women in particular. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, Jesus Christ, you think what about me and my match? So I'm all for skipping it because, sometimes these journalists, no disrespect to you, Renee, you're a good quality journalist. But a lot of them are just like low rent, and it's just like nobody got time for that shit, really. You gotta cool down, you gotta get your mind and space ready, So for me, it's all like $3,000. Look, wow, I make $40,000 in the first round. Shit, I'm gonna skip it all the way to the final.
Yeah. No, I can. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I get it. I get it. It's not something. It's not what I'd want because. And it's not something the tours want because that is something that I feel like a lot of people always forget is that the first 1 or 2 questions of each presser are supposed to be about the match. And that's why when people say, oh, you always ask the same crap and the same questions. No, when you do a post-match press conference, you ask about post-match at the beginning instead of some crazy ask or wacky question. You just ease a player into a press conference when they're up there sitting there and spending their time with you. But yeah, as you said, if it's $40,000 first round prize money, and the fine is $3,000,
and you skip all 7 and you win, that's $21,000. So
realistically, yeah,
you're still good. But I mean, and also I have to say sometimes, I don't blame a particular player like Serena. I remember last year when that comment about, oh, I don't want to be here, that comment came out. That was such an innocent question and an innocent response. And that turned into like this whole big monster, like she's disrespectful. How dare she comes out and say this? People have been waiting on her, etc., etc. And that to me was just like, why am I gonna come out here for this shit? You know, when what I'm being say, it becomes that you mentioned this last time you were here, Rennie, about the optics about when a press conference is on paper and you read it, it reads like so much different than when you are actually there. And I was actually there when Serena made that comment, and she didn't mean in any way disrespectful. She was just like, it's a matter. She just played Venus, I think it was, and she's like, I'm exhausted. I kind of want to be home right now and sleeping and resting because how much that match is, and they had to play late. And it was like, why? Like, what the fuck did this shit come out about? She's being rude and disrespectful because no one there.
It's like context, context and print. That's just like that often skews things.
You know, and then when you have people, it's just like, here, take it, write in the check right now.
Okay, so let's move on for a little bit. Where is, I mean, we could live forever in these press conferences. Where's Vika? I have not heard a thing about Vika. Is she healthy? Is she signed up for any tournaments? Like,
Vika was supposed to play Nottingham, but she pulled out of. She was supposed to play. Yeah, she pulled out of Nottingham.
What was the reason?
Yeah, interesting.
Is she saying she's injured still?
Yeah, same injury, I think, from the French Open.
Oh, wow. I hope she isn't trying to play. She's a big match player because that's not her anymore. She don't.
Well, that's kind of the interesting context about the U.S. Open for me. Is like it's really about who's really good on grass and who's really good on hard and what the competition looks like. I always feel like by the U.S. Open, if you can count on somebody like a healthy I mean, the only person who's beaten Serena this year, right, is Vika and the two people in the finals.
Yep.
Kuzi, Janina have something to say about that?
Who's nuts about? But you know what I mean, like in terms of like when Serena is on, like the biggest threat. If you go back to the early part of the season, the biggest threat was Vika, right? We all thought that we were going to have like this kind of major Vika surge, and look at her, she's gone. So it's like
did she surge and
disappear
to thin air? It was
like people were writing a script.
She
was getting. They were going to do the Vika's on back to her 2011 run, and next thing you know, flame out. You know what I mean? So that's to me like Vika is like the open question because I think of her as really sort of Serena's big challenger. To be honest, I mean anyone else, it just depends on the day, right? But
yeah, I mean
for consistency,
exactly. Like a healthy Serena versus a healthy Vika is going to be an interesting match.
Yeah.
And guaranteed, good ratings and whatever. Much more of a rivalry than the Serena versus Maria match, people. Just saying. Yeah, so to me, Vika season was like a firecracker. It was all lit up and all excited and ooh, and then poof, and then just paper on the floor, really.
Well, I hope she comes back for hard. I don't know. I can't imagine her being able to do all the things she needs to do on grass if she's got leg issues. And back issues, because that was...
You sort of need to be, because people be slipping all over the place in this grass this time around. Ooh, people better bring some skates or something for Wimbledon.
But talking about the grass, what did you guys make of Queens? Because me being in Halle, I reckon you maybe you saw a bit more of Queens than I did. I saw some of Queens, but not everything.
Saw a little bit of Queens. Well, apparently the thing with Queens is that they don't allow you to get on the grass until the very first match. You have to practice outside on other courts, and then you get on the grass for a match. And apparently the sheen on it is it's dodgy as hell. It's slippery all the time. So everyone was slipping and sliding on that grass. It wasn't like it was at Halle, where by the time it was at the end, it was like, it looked like it was hard.
Well, the other thing, too, is that each year, I think they're mixing the grass and changing it up, sort of like, and then you can't really get proper shoes for grass because you can't have grip, right? Because the groundskeeper's gonna be like, "What the fuck are you doing? Take that shit off! Like, take it off now!" Sometimes, apparently, he be sending out memo like, "Do not throw your racket on the grass. Do not throw it." So, I mean, so that's the problem. They sort of have to have a sort of like a smooth. We can't do something like golf. So no wonder they pretty much wear clean, brand new shoes every time. So it's like they're slipping all over the place, and then plus there's a little water on it too because everywhere it was raining. So
the outcome was not in doubt. Andy Murray was pretty. I mean, he was playing.
Don't you mean Ivan Lendl defeating
Oh.
McEnroe in the final?
God, can I tell you?
Oh my God, I'm so sick of it already.
The super coach thing, it's like the dab. We gotta kill it. We gotta kill it with fire.
Yeah.
The next person we need to do is we need to have Vika get a super coach so that she can kill it like she killed the dab. I just need us to. But you know, it's so sad because it's almost as if it's so clear that the reporters feel more comfortable talking about the super coaches than they do about the players.
Oh, meanwhile,
There's so much like drama and like nostalgia around that.
Hold on. I just want to clarify something. These are the same. You see why you don't fuck with journalists? They are so full of shit. These are the same journalists who like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. Oh, the contribution of Amelie Mauresmo. She was all of this feminist, yada yada yada. And he brought in a man. He didn't even do shit yet. Oh, the improvement already. Oh my God, the Lendl factor. It's just like,
oh wow, Mary lost a set to Kyle Edmund on grass. Wow, the Lendl factor.
what the
No,
fuck?
it was a Lendl. Listen, let me tell you something. I watched Murray's first match. His first match out the gate. He gestured to the ground, which he does on grass all the time, into his shoes. And this woman says, I can see the Lendl effect already. He's controlling his emotions better. He's showing more self-control. I mean, it was incredible. The Lendl effect is remarkable. I think the Lendl effect is basically on the journalists, which is that they can now gush to their heart's content. Because they always suggested that Andy Murray was a little bit of a punk for going with a lady. So I
punk
think now
in the beginning, brave in the end, and now all of a sudden it's just like God. This
he was never
crazy,
brave.
Stupid narrative.
He was never brave. The only person who thought Andy Murray was brave for going with a female coach were female sports writers. Check that fact.
Wow.
And female bloggers. Let's be honest. All the other male reporters, they talked around it, but they all thought it was a little bit of a gimmick on some level. And they really didn't think anyone could control the very thing that Andy needed, which was his emotions on court. They thought Lendl was the only one who could school him. Like a daddy.
Uh-oh.
We go back to daddy.
No, we're not.
There's no one that's gonna convince me Andy Murray is not a big man child. Like, you just can't tell me otherwise. It's just like a boy in a 6'3" body. It's just like I'm over it.
It's actually a really insulting narrative, actually. You know what I mean? His narrative is really insulting because what they really spend a lot of time talking about is how sort of emotionally fragile he is.
Oh,
and
he mentioned that because he's been a couple of walls with him. He's like, there's sometimes some of these journalists suggested I should see a shrink. Like he is, yeah, they have been. He has been very vocal about the things that they've said about him. But it's just like Andy Murray, then you go on court and do some stupid shit. I could kind of see why they gotta say this shit. Like, you're mad and you're up a set in a break. Like, what the fuck? Like, why are you screaming at your box? Like.
But it's like match management, really. You can talk about it in a different way, but the way they talk about it, they make it seem like he's a baby who needs his coach to hold his hand and basically, give him a little
make his milk just right.
Just right. And the only person who can do that is Lendl, because in a weird way, it's very paternalistic. Lendl is that stern paternal figure looking at him saying, don't you show your emotions on court, boy.
Well also, I imagine that it turns into like this whole, like remember Andy Murray initially started with a whole gang, a whole posse, right? There was like so many people in the box. Boy. And then I thought that came into like a whole crazy shit. And then when Amelie came in, like he fired everybody and it just turned into a small little team, just he and Amelie. And then the box started growing again as the boys again. It just seemed like I just figured Lendl comes in and just like,
boys are back in town.
Shut this frat house shit down. I got no time for this fucking shit. You little scrubs and motherfuckers on the side, you ain't doing shit but just bleeding Andy Murray. This is not Entourage, okay? And only I matter here. Only Eva matters.
I think Janina will appreciate it, though. Janina, the best thing he brought, I have to say, the best thing about Lendl is that his full admittance that he recognizes that it's Andy Murray's duty to challenge Novak. Like he basically came out and said, "Listen, I'm
here
here
for that.
to make sure that Andy Murray prevents Novak Djokovic from getting the calendar slam or the Sunshine Slam or the Golden Slam. That's what I'm here to do."
So
And
be
it's
it
like,
Slam or the Novak Slam, whatever y'all want to call it, they know they fam. You know.
but I think it's good. I think it's really good because all along, if you think about the Federer era, the whole point was that those two were holding each other to the fire. And I've often thought that Andy Murray has gotten a pass, I think, for not holding Novak to the fire. So for him to come in and say, "Listen, this is why I'm here. I'm here to make sure that Andy Murray steps up in these finals." I mean, I'm not mad at that.
I'm down for that. But on a side note, I'm gonna say it right now. And if you wait a little minute, you will hear explosion after I hear it, which is just heads and minds exploding. I don't think Nola's gonna win Wimbledon this year.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
Ooh, interesting.
Nole fam, the Nole gods here's gonna be explosion. Oh
shit!
You're racist. You don't like Nole because he's white. Because I'm just gonna read it all over the place. I really don't think he's gonna win it.
I have a feeling about it as well too. I don't know why.
Reels, you're basically the Telegraph cover. Novak
No, wait.
I bring me down to lower end paper.
I saw that. Was that actually a headline? Because I saw that.
That was like
Novak
the front
Djokovic,
page.
And I was like, no way.
No,
was it
you
actually
did not just. Exactly. I was like, you did not just do that.
Did they spell it right at least though? They didn't spell it.
Yeah, they spelled the name right. I was like, if they had spelled his first name Nlvack, that would have just thrown shit at the town.
You gotta keep it simple, like a Roger and a Rafa, people. You gotta keep it simple, okay?
That is so wrong. Why did they do that? Was it upon the announcement of Lendl? Because I didn't see.
No, it's just a profile. I think it was Telegraph, but it was a profile of Andy Murray and him looking very earnest and stern and about the grass-cut season and like basically Novak who. Like,
you know what? It sounds like they're taking notes from Reels tennis fans. That's not a good.
Oh shit! You'll all be fired.
People, exactly. Trust me. These haters come out. They call you racist because apparently it is you hate white people when you just don't like one white person. It's that way. I don't know how it works, but hey,
Lord,
it's just how it works out here. But I mean, I just don't think. But I have to say that WTA. This week and last week, y'all kind of not getting a pass because it's not just the Roger Federer factor of him being back on court for 2 consecutive tournaments. So let's give him praise for that. But I think the ATP has definitely stepped up this grass season. They have been just making themselves up some very intriguing matches. We're gonna not. I don't want to really talk about that Halle final, Zverev. Like, what the fuck?
No, stop.
Choke?
Huh?
Is there a choke?
No,
he didn't.
No, he just never played well today.
Yeah, he didn't play well today.
I just kind of didn't wake up for it.
They never get up for the post Roger match. They never do.
I'm plus. Saying she's talking to you.
You get that win, and you can't get up for that. He's like, why am I serving so poorly? I was like, Zverev was like, I mean, although let's be honest, maybe Roger was returning poorly.
Yes, that too. That definitely too.
Well, let's get into it. We're at Halle. We're at Halle. So tell us about Halle.
Well, let me tell you about Halle. Halle is a lovely little small town in northwestern Germany, about like one hour from the Netherlands away. Really, really small, like 20,000 inhabitants, 15,000 inhabitants. Pretty much the funny thing is obviously that you've got that the tournament side is adjacent next to the Roger Federer Halle, which kind of tells you a lot about this tournament.
It's Roger's little tournament.
It is very much. It is. I always call it like the German Temple of Roger Federer because
don't be shading the only white person we like.
I'm not being shady. I'm just calling it the way it's.
I love that.
Yeah, it's they've got a lifetime contract with Federer, so he's going to come there until the end of his playing days, and
until he dies, right? I mean, essentially. I mean, he might end up like
They're gonna put a wheelchair tournament pretty soon. He's like,
Oh my God, you're horrible.
I mean, when I heard that he had a lifetime contract, I was like, well, essentially, he could just show up forever.
it disappeared in our dream.
He could, and the interesting thing is, I reckon he could sell tickets until he's 42.
Yes,
He could still come there each year.
It was packed.
When
It
he's
was definitely
42
packed.
and 43, it would be sold out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a very much your middle class, middle aged crowd in general. Quite a number of international people actually heading there because they know that Federer is going to play there every year, barring any injuries. And yeah, in my opinion, you can tell that a lot of the tournament is revolving around Federer. There's just no denying that. It's going to be really interesting what this tournament's going to be like once Federer does decide to hang up his racket at one point. They're obviously trying to get different top 10 names, different top 10 players. Like this year, they've had Team, which I think was a massive boost for them. That he made the semi-finals at the French and won the title in Stuttgart. So he came there with some momentum, with quite a bit of interest from the media, which helped a lot. Thomas Berdych was also there for a day or two, and then.
Okay. What happened to Kay? Like, Kay didn't play a match, right?
Kay played his first round match.
He did play his first round.
Played against Lucas Pouille.
Pouille, yeah.
And won that match, but struggled a bit through it.
Yeah,
and,
Pouille was unlucky to not have won that, actually.
Yeah, and Nishikori withdrew from his second round match because he said he felt a side ab issue.
Oh dear, that's different from any other issue he's had. I mean, like, I'm really
He's
serious.
running out of body parts, isn't it?
That's
He's
actually a different injury. Oh my God, I'm not even being like mocking. That's actually totally new, right? Usually it's like a leg.
He actually said he had it before.
Wait, he had it before? Okay.
Allegedly so.
Listen, I'm a K fan. I'm just keeping track of all his injuries. That's like, shit, that's a new body part that I hadn't heard of. Damn it.
He's running out of spots right about now.
Sis, you must have an injury book on him as long as the Bible.
I really do. And
it might be longer.
I keep track of it, and so I'm really sad about that. Although Kay doesn't really make an impression at Wimbledon, does he? He doesn't usually, right? No, I mean,
last year was the same issue. Last year he played semi-finals in Halle here, had a calf issue, withdrew or retired in his semi-final against Andrea Seppi.
How many retirements and withdrawals does he have? He's got to be up there with Novak.
We got to check. I'm waiting for the moment. I'm waiting for the moment when Kay has his 2011 year and his body becomes unbreakable. Cause think about it. I had a moment where I was watching some like flashback match, and it was Novak, I think, having some sort of issue in the heat. And I was like, wow, remember when that was who Novak was? Like, he was like pre-serum Chris Evans, Captain America pre-serum, and then afterwards he was unbreakable. I feel like you never know. I mean, think about it. What would the world be like if somehow Kay could figure out how to get rid of that gluten issue? And
I can't even deal with all this Kay shit.
I tell you what Kay needs. Kay needs Roger to call him out and say, Kay, what the fuck are you doing? You keep retiring. I've never retired from a match. What the hell? I have like one in my entire long career. And then Kay's gonna get his life together. Watch and see.
Roger. So I'm waiting for. Let's just all think positively about the future when Kay figures out how to learn from Novak and come back unbreakable. Think about who that guy would be, though. How fun would tennis be?
It's interesting. It was. I actually talked to Chang like 2 months ago or something on this, and I was like, so.
Michael?
Yeah,
Yes.
Michael. I was like, so. What, with regards to Kay, like, how do you guys try and make him, physically not stronger, less injury prone? How do you just, where are you with that? And he was like, it's basically a multi-year plan to just try and keep him healthy, and it's been one of the main focus points of their collaboration so far. I think this year it's worked pretty well. Like up until this side ab issue, he hasn't had many things that have really made life too difficult for him physically. But yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see how Wimbledon's going to go for him. He's got like 10 days, he had 10 days to recover, rest up, and prepare. Said that he thought he was going to be okay, that this was going to be okay for Wimbledon, but I also remember sitting in his presser this time last year after the semi-finals with him saying, "I hope it's going to be okay, and I think I'll be fine for Wimbledon." And he was the very opposite of fine. So I will treat this with a lot of caution, and I'm just going to see how it goes. But yeah, it would be interesting to see what would happen if Kei Nishikori's body wasn't a glass cannon.
No, I love it so. It's too bad.
He would probably be really good all the time.
Probably.
Think about that. He'd be like unstoppable, but popular. Think about that.
Oh my God! Everyone, just go eat noodles, all right?
I mean, think about that. Think about the world. Think about what Japan would do if they had Kei come back. I mean, it'd be ridiculous.
Like at the U.S. Open, like it is just insane.
Kei could fill entire stadiums. Okay, if Kei was like fit.
Particularly in 2014,
brutal. Yeah.
Kei was so popular. Kei got a bye. He didn't have to do the regular press. Kei did Japanese press first before he did
I saw
US.
It. There was like a Japanese TV station. You know how like at the U.S. Open they have these camps, and it was like ESPN has its own section, tennis TV. Kei had his own section. There was a Japanese station. And it was awesome with a beautiful host, handsome co-host. I mean, it was fabulous. And I was like, wait a minute. Why are they're just here for Kei? Fantastic.
So how was it for one round there in Germany? Did he have his own people, Renee?
He did last year. He had this year. He had people there, photographers there.
They're not fucking around with Kei.
No, they're not. They're not
messing about.
Messing about there. No.
Let's get the ATP. ATP, give Kei a pass. Let him take some sort of a drug that will help his body not break down. It's a game plan to help build your sport. I'm just putting it out there.
This idea is brought to you by Moldonium. Someone had to. I'm
shit.
I guess you listen to our podcast all the time.
Listen, I just dropped a little tea there for somebody because I guarantee you the ATP's thinking about it right now. How can we give him an exception? Something. No.
Well,
it'd be nice though. Anyway, so, but yeah, it's sad. I always like it when Kei's in the mix.
Yeah, I love his tennis. His tennis, when he's playing tennis, his tennis is exciting. Like, I like how he manages. I particularly like his run in 2014 at the US Open. It was very exciting. His tennis was really cute. But, he ran into Marin Cilic in the final, so unfortunately.
Cilic we've never seen again.
Exactly. Actually, no, Cilic made the semis of the US Open last year, so don't even try it.
Honey, and he couldn't walk the entire match. It was
a mess. God.
It was a mess. Poor Novak Djokovic handed him his ass and then apologized afterwards. He cannot walk. Well, I'm like, why did you beat Tsonga? Anywho, sorry I had to get
What happened to Goffin here in Halle?
He got beaten by Federer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was such a cute match. I mean, it's a crazy thing to say, but I mean, I watched the match because, particularly the second set, it was so interesting because I was having a moment where I thought Goffin was cute. I don't know what the fuck was happening with my life, but I was like, oh my god, Goffin is cute.
I mean, he's cute in that little boy type of way.
No, I mean, that scruff going on, and I was like, oh, and it was either going to be between him and Sergey, right? It was going to be Sergey, and Goffin's going to beat Federer, right? And I was like, Sergey might go and try to beat Federer, but Goffin's going to go there and be like, oh, fanboy, and be
No, he was the second set.
But in the first set, he was fanboy. In the first set, he was definitely fanboy, right? But in the second set, he was playing some really good tennis. And he was really pissed off when, his tennis failed him. Yeah, because he double faulted when he was serving for the matchup in the second set. He double faulted
that one back.
And something I didn't notice before is this: his feet barely gets up off the ground when he's serving. I'm like, boy, you're like 5'2". What the fuck? You need to be up in
That's
the air.
why.
But apparently he's like 5'11". I was like, I
Nah,
didn't
he ain't
see a
that tall.
measure.
That's a lie. That's a
What
stat lie.
what was your read of that match, Renee? Were you watching?
I thought it was interesting. I thought Federer played really well in the first set. I thought that was the sort of level and the sort of tennis that he was, that he's looking to produce at the moment, and that he's capable of producing. As for the second set, I thought that was a bit of a mess from both sides.
Mhm.
True.
And I thought Federer was lucky to pull it out in 2 sets, and I'm kind of glad that Federer pulled it out in 2 sets, because I thought that if Goffin had won the second set, would have been 6-3 or 6-2 Federer in the third set, and just been extra time essentially. So
Oh, that's not right. You gotta give
See,
Goffin
but you know
respect.
what? I felt like if Federer would have lost that second set, he lost the
Goffin.
match.
Me too. I thought so too. I thought Goffin was definitely. Goffin seemed to be able to, as of late, not lose the type of matches he would have lost last year. He seems to be trying to figure his way out in matches more
no, I
often
do
than
agree.
not.
He's more consistent, and
He's more
I think that's
consistent.
something that he's happy with as well. At least he said that in press after the Sahovsky win. He was like, "Yeah, I think I played better towards the end of that match, but I also got a bit lucky, in a way."
Yeah, because Federer
but-
was shit.
And yeah, just generally, I think for Goffin that's a loss on grass that he can take, because he didn't look entirely comfortable in his first
So-
2 matches on grass in Halle, and I think the loss to Federer, it gives him some more time to just prepare to get ready for Wimbledon, and I'd expect Goffin to play into a 4th round or something like that at Wimbledon, and that would be a solid result for him on grass, in my opinion, because he just doesn't have. He plays well. He moves really well.
Doesn't have the weapon to
but
sort of like.
he does not have the biggest firepower. He redirects really well, and but he doesn't have maybe as much firepower as some of the other guys. And I think a 4th round would be a really respectable result for him in 2 weeks.
I was disappointed in Stahovsky losing, because it was too bad he got hurt. I was looking forward to him playing Federer and seeing 2 like real grass court players play each other. That would have been some pretty tennis, I think, but
Except
unfortunately.
Federer is not playing grass court tennis. Like,
Well, I think he probably might
why
have though,
Federer
against.
isn't. Yeah, you think maybe? Because
I
why?
think he would have. I think when he is allowed to, he does, and he's good. And if you have 2 people that play that type of tennis on court, I think we could have seen some really fun stuff. I was looking forward to it.
I have to admit to being somewhat disappointed by the type of tennis that Federer is playing. Like, why is Federer deciding that he's going to try to hang at the baseline with these young guys again? Like, the whole thing last year, it was sort of his recognizing that he had to take the midcourt and he had to, work on his transition game and do a lot more serve and volleying. I mean, it was cliche, but that's what he was doing. And I think it was to some degree of success. And then this last week or so, it's like he's trying to bang back. I mean, like, the match against Team made no sense to me. Like, why are you having these rallies on grass?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I think for me, like, it's a fairly simple explanation, because last year he had faith and some sort of trust in his ground game, and he had matches, and he had just played matches that year. This year,
freedom to move.
This year he has not played matches, so he does not really know where he is with sort of the basics and the elementary stuff of his game. What was clicking this week was basically his serve. Like, he kept himself alive in that Zverev match mainly because he served pretty well, because off the ground he just struggled in terms of timing.
He was it almost at one point I thought it was like Rafa playing and Vidal playing Nole. Ball shot in the box. I mean, like, I was like, Federer, what the fuck are you doing? Like, it's like you're serving all over again. Like, the ball never go beyond the service line. And Zverev was exploiting that backhand like it was nobody's business. But
he wasn't changing anything up. I mean, I understand your point that he doesn't trust his ground game, But then, if you don't trust your ground game, why then play your ground game against somebody who's been playing so much tennis?
Because in my head, it's just something that, in my head at least, but then again, I was never when I played, and I'm never going to compare myself to Federer or any of the pros. But when I always played, like for me, is when the basics were covered. That means just like the game off the ground, serve, game off the ground from the baseline. That's when I was happy to venture forward. That's when I was happy to move into the forecourt, because I just knew that the rest of my game was there, and I could still hang back and play if I failed, or if things didn't pan out at the front in the forecourt, I could still hang back.
I would have preferred that he went the other way, because in my mind, yes, I know Zverev was probably not 100% up to par like he was yesterday against Federer, but I think it was also Florian's tricky, dicey plays that helped make Zev not feel entirely comfortable, and Federer didn't do any of that in his match.
I think he just needs. Federer just needs to match play. He just needs to get some confidence going. He needs to string together a few wins. I mean, we have to be realistic. He hasn't hardly played at all this year.
It has nothing to do about realism. It's about the tactic that he was using. It's not. I mean, it hasn't. I mean, yeah, we all know that he needs match play, but the question is how he's playing the matches. When he was playing with, when he was playing with a different coach, he seemed to have adopted a certain mindset about the way he was going to attempt to play.
Well, let's fire Lubicic.
But
no.
But I mean,
what are you saying?
In my opinion, it's the same thing. Like if you go into, for example, into a maths exam, there's a chance you know everything in theory. Basically, let's say theory are the tactics. You know everything in theory. You know everything perfectly. If you've never practiced it, or if you haven't had time to practice it, you're just going to be sitting there in front of a paper and you're going to be lost because you haven't had time to practice it and to apply it. And I think that is something that is pretty important that was pretty important for Federer, is that he didn't have a lot of time to practice. And one thing I think that people shouldn't forget is the weather here has been absolutely awful for the past 2 weeks. Hitting on grass has not been that enjoyable because it's always been raining. There's always been a lot of humidity in the air. It's been more slippery, at least to Federer, for example, and a couple of other players. It's been more slippery this year on the grass courts than in previous years. And for someone who has been injured for, let's just say, 12 out of 16 weeks this year so far, that is something that plays to your mind. That plays into your mind in terms of just sheer movement. So
he was very cautious. He was very cautious. I think I would just say that for Federer fans, I would say that Federer fans should be very cautious about Wimbledon and about how far they think he can go. Not because, I mean, for all of the reasons that you suggested. There's just not free-flowing movement from Federer and not a lot of confidence.
Yep. Yeah. Hey, Renee, were you around for that Marcos Baghdatis try to be secret racket smash?
It was beautiful. Wasn't it? On his birthday, he goes off court to smash the racket.
Tell everybody how that went.
Marcos Baghdatis is really frustrated during his match against Sasha Zverev, and at one point it was Marcos Baghdatis' birthday. At one point, Marcos Baghdatis just had it with everything. Leaves the court really quick. You can hear him whack his racket in nearby the court.
Why hide it? Show it.
Returns. I don't know. Returns to the court. Federic Maria gives him a warning. Marcos Baghdatis is like, dude, why you give me a warning? And the thing is, but within the rules, it says explicitly racket abuse and racket violation within the precinct of the tournament. So that's within the confines. So I don't care if you smash your racket nearby the pretzel stand or on center court. I can still give you a warning.
That's great.
But also, you can't really smash your racket on the grass anyway.
He didn't actually smash it on the grass, so that is.
That's what I'm saying. You can't really do that. It's not gonna.
Yeah, the grass probably won't do the right thing.
It won't do.
I don't know. Because that might have been the highlight for me of the week.
The optics of trying to smash your racket on the chair don't look right. You look like a crazy person. People might get scared, like real legit scared. So you have to.
Can we talk about Halle winner Florian Mayer?
Yes, please. That was great.
Reels
That
up
was-
for it.
Wait, I mean, look.
I don't know why Reels wouldn't be. You should love Funky Flow. He's got a fun game.
Well, there is just actually, I think Funky Flow has an extra, I know, a little pep in his step, but it's just me on the outside.
Uh-oh.
looking in. I'm just saying.
Funky Flow
I'm
looks
just
good.
saying. Funky Flow, give me a little swag, but you know.
Like he was happy to be there, babe.
But I'm happy, you know, like I'm always with the scrub. I'm telling you, 2016 is definitely the year of the scrub, and looks more and more one. I mean, like, I was a little disappointed in
That's great for
Zverev
him.
because I really thought that Zverev was playing a really good tennis this week, not just in the Federer match, but definitely before.
Mm-hmm.
Against Marcus Baghdatis, he really handled himself because I really thought Marcus was going to take that match, being the veteran, and Marcus looks snatched. Marcus got his life together. No more Marcus fat. That is, he lost weight. You can see his abs again. I mean, there's no triple chin. He's definitely
And
he was
Marcus
working
can
out.
sneak a match, like he snuck a match
Exactly.
with Feliciano Lopez down a set and
Yeah.
up
Do
straight.
not sleep on Marcus Baghdatis because every once in a while he cares. You gotta buy money. He needs that. Actually, his motivation was definitely being seeded for Wimbledon. Don't think that's gonna happen unless he plays again. Actually, no, because the seeding they take the ranking from tomorrow.
Exactly.
So he's not gonna get in. But
Well,
So tell us about Florian.
I woke up to him ugly crying on TV.
he had about like a million match points before Zverev.
Five.
He had 5? Oh, jeez.
Two
you
in the
know what?
second set, 3 in the third, yeah.
But you know what? It's funny. This is the thing I think Zverev is gonna learn because Zverev, if he had converted on the break point, he would have taken that match. I don't think Florian had anything left in his body.
But he wasn't
Florian-
meant
Florian
to.
was
It wasn't
silent.
meant to. It
Yeah.
was for Florian. I mean, think about this. Federer's had that tournament on lockdown, and a German finally wins a home tournament.
And it's an old veteran German too, not for the young people.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of a theme. I mean, Haas did the same thing a couple of years ago to him. Also won it
Yeah.
against Federer. Kohlschreiber won it like 5 years ago or something. So most of the Germans have won it once, even though Federer has had his thump on that tournament
It's like 80.
like crazy. Yeah.
What's up with Kohlschreiber? What's his injury?
Oh yes. So Renee, before we go in, can you
Tired.
give me a solid and get Kohlschreiber number? Do you know him? Something? Get him to tweet her something. You know, he is on edge for police. You don't imagine the kind of crazy DM we get because when Kohlschreiber is playing. So
Zip it. Shut it, Reels.
can you help us sift that out?
Kohlschreiber has a left hip injury.
Ah,
Janina, you need to rub that. You know, like.
I'm on it.
left injury. Okay, left hip injury.
Mm,
So it was probably more preventive, right? Just to make sure that he was better.
Yeah,
for him.
presumably.
Yeah.
I mean, he said he felt it already in Stuttgart, and it got worse during the Karlovic match, and that's why he withdrew from the quarterfinals.
Cool. That's good to know.
I
And
like
so-
him in Wimbledon, so hopefully
Yeah.
he'll be better.
Yeah, he'll be good to lose in the fourth round, right? That's usually where. it
Pretty
goes.
much, yeah. That's usually the way it goes. Absolutely, in a match that he totally should win.
See what I mean? See
He's a
what I mean,
perpetual
Renee? You
fucking
definitely-
disappointment.
Renee, please. Just get Kohlschreiber to tweet her.
Her one saving grace is that Kohlschreiber can certainly take care of business. That's about it.
You know
He
what?
got pretty eyes. He got
He's
pretty
got-
eyes.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, that's
Alright.
great.
So what else? Anything else we need to talk about?
But you know, I just want to say we did read your piece on Florian. It was really good news for him. That
It is. For me, the thing is, I kind of grew up with Flo playing, and I always enjoy watching Flo because he does bring a bit of a
Different,
a certain different funk, maybe even junk occasionally to
Yes,
the court. But
definitely junk.
I just enjoy watching him play.
Is he a Monica
and-
Nicolescu of the ATP?
Not quite, but
I mean,
he
but the thing is,
approaches it.
I feel like almost like Stritzeva is a decent comparison.
Yes.
In a way,
yeah.
in terms of just someone who just never gives you the same ball, who keeps the ball super low, who moves well on grass, serves really well, and sneaks into the net and finishes off floater return or floater defense shots, and jumps it, and of course the jumping backhand drop shot. It's just fun. It's just fun. It's wacko, but it's fun to watch, especially if
And it
you
worked this week,
well.
and he got that winner's check.
Oh yeah.
I mean, talk about that though. Like all those points, and suddenly, boom, he's already ahead of schedule in terms of his goals for the year.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. I mean, listen. That is the power of a win on the ATP side. It is like you.
Wow. That is some shady shit. Okay,
No, I'm not
shady.
No, it's not shady. See, it's not shady because he said that he had a goal of being at a certain rank, but by winning the tournament, he's already surpassed that goal. I'm not even being shady. It's amazing that like suddenly he's won, and it's
week,
in 1 week he's done something that he anticipated was going to take him 6 months to do. That's what it means.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
That's why.
Are we gonna call this podcast All the Shade?
There's no shade. Oh my God. Because that's why Federer can be number 12, even though he's barely played. Like, you know what I mean? It's like if you mash out these titles, if you only have a few people winning titles, you can really keep people's rankings leveled.
Oh my God.
I mean? So to win a title really jumps you up on the ATP side. It really does.
So Rennie, what do you think of Zverev? Is this the real deal? Do we gotta,
watch out for him?
I think he's a pretty real deal. I think he's played really well this week. I asked him like in press after, I was like, so do you feel that like your focus or your attention sort of kind of just dipped after the semi-finals? He was like, yeah, it might have been a bit of that. It might have been me being tired, and I just really didn't play well today. And he didn't play well in the finals. I agree. He just it was I think partially it was because he just didn't have the greatest of days, and partially because he played an opponent who is
experience.
His experience in finals is not the greatest, to be honest with you. Like, he won one tournament and has a pretty lousy record in finals, but Mayer didn't really have any pressure, and a lot of in Germany, I'd say a lot of people were looking at Zverev and were all thinking, oh, Zverev is going to win this.
Yep.
I thought it was going to be a pretty open affair, and I thought that if Zverev had a bit of an off day, that Mayer had enough tricks in his bag to just rattle him beyond belief. And I think that overall, though, it was yet another step into the right direction for Zverev. I mean, they've just been, like, for me, of the past 5 or 6 tournaments, he's made semi-finals in Munich, lost to Federer in Madrid, made finals in Rome, pardon me, made finals in Nice, lost to Team, made third round at the French Open, lost to Team, and now made finals here in Halle. And I think there are just too many signs at the moment pointing into the right direction and pointing into a certain sense of consistency. And I think
Stokowski said because he's like growing leaps and bounds overnight. Like he's like it's like insane.
It's also something like, for example, I remember that like Berdych, for example, also saying that in February is like you see these guys and they just get ridiculous. They improve ridiculously almost from week to week. You play them
like
1 month after another, and it's just
in 2009.
Yeah.
It was crapping like, Australian. Next thing you know, by the U.S. Open, he's taking the title from Federer. Like, they're just improving in these ways that you just can't imagine.
I watched his match against Federer this time around as opposed to him earlier. Like his maturity on court, it was so much better. Like
he was a lot calmer. He
wasn't getting rattled. He was laughing with the umpire. Usually he's like ready to like fight someone, and I was just like, oh, kid, and he was really playing solid defensive, measured tennis, really good. Because I think that's one of the
save all those break points. Remember? Whew.
Right. I think one of the reasons why Federer was hanging back, because I think Federer thought that Zverev would have been making the errors more often than not.
He wasn't.
But he wasn't, right? And Federer, that Federer full hand was a woof. It was a 2-hand. Oh shit. That shit wasn't
or the few passes. I mean, there were times when he caught Federer sort of flat-footed, and
Federer was going the wrong way. But we're not here to talk about Federer.
No, we're here to talk about how Zverev beat him. But well, I think the tournament should reach out to him and get a lifetime appearance. I mean, you were talking about what the life of the tournament would be without Federer. I mean, I would say start
It's been
coddling those,
It's been a good start. I think it's been
And he could bring in the young people because
You can
Halle,
bring
you
in
kind of need.
young people, and and it also helps that you've got someone like Dominic Thiem, obviously, who's a German speaker. You had 4 German speakers in the semi-finals, which is not something that is an everyday occurrence. Granted, one of them was from northern Italy and happens to be a native German speaker, and the other one was a Swiss. And the next one was I know that was Seppi was quarterfinal, sorry, and Thiem obviously being a native speaker. But
Seppi
I
speaks
think
German.
Yeah, he's
is
part
a
of the
native.
German. Yeah.
Oh,
He's
yes,
a
it's
native
true.
German speaker. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just interesting to sort of have like 2 younger. I don't think Thiem is that young anymore. To be honest, he's still young, but not like.
Well, they're
19.
calling him the new Boris Becker. They finally figured out what to call Thiem.
Yeah, they're also calling Zverev the new Boris Becker in Germany. And I mean, I don't know if you saw that. I tweeted out like one picture from the biggest boulevard paper in Germany, who were like, after the Federer triumph, the flop in the finals, Zverev missed his first title, and I think
cruel.
that is it's rough, and it kind of mirrors the sort of state of maybe perception of tennis, and also to a certain degree the sort of reporting that is done in tennis over here.
Yeah.
It's just I still think that Germany is stuck like 20 years ago in terms of just expectation levels towards the players, in terms of their writing, in terms of the way that they approach tennis and they approach tennis journalism, and I think there are a lot of people who just slept through the past 20 years, but
well, they're waking up at the perfect time. They're like,
and if you feel addressed, come at me.
Looky here, Rene.
But you know what? He's
and
better
people, just
than
so you know, Rene got backative with Reels tennis fan. Okay, Reels is ready to punch some motherfuckers. Rene,
look at you! Look at you! He's a backup.
No, it's just not. It's not going to be easy for him. I think it's something. Yeah, I'm obviously. I'm making over-exaggerating at points here, but it's not going to be necessarily easy for him because there's a very very thin tightrope that he'll have to walk in terms of just shutting himself off from too much maybe attention and too much clamoring over him, and also on the other side.
He's also so pretty. I mean, that's helpful too. I mean, he has the hair, the look.
Basically, like the
look, you know.
Boy band looks, yeah. That's what a lot of people are saying, yeah. And
plus he's 19 and he's definitely in top 32, and that hasn't happened in a very long time. I think the last time was Rafa.
Yeah. He's a teenager making ATP 500 finals and like gradually, not even like skyrocketing, but like gradually making it into the top 30, like something that seems like the most natural thing in the world for him at the moment. And I think that is something where he'll just have to figure out the best way for him in terms of dealing with the media, dealing with his own expectations. And I think I don't know if I think most people can guess this, that he's extremely ambitious and also extremely hard on himself. Like
I don't have a sense of his personality. Is that what he's like?
He is very harsh on himself, I find. I like for an 18 or 19-year-old.
His father and brothers are professional. His father and brother were and are professional. Is professional players. So I mean, it's like very. I think it's not even grammatically correct. His father was a professional player and his brother is one. So
yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know, he feels like he has to kind of do better, you know, and get it there. Rene, maybe you can settle a little dispute Janina and I have. I'm of the opinion that Zverev, Sasha, and Michel are half brothers, and Janina says they're not.
Brothers.
They're full brothers. Same mother, same father.
Yes.
Oh.
Booyah!
So you have you done a feature on Zev?
Yes, I have. With some insight also from like it was on the. I wrote that on Friday, I think, in as a preview also to the semi-final encounter between between Fed and Zverev, and also in terms of Zverev's temper and whether that is actually helping him, where it is maybe not helping him, with some insight from Federer also.
He's not getting married anytime soon, is he?
No.
Let me taking that Taylor Fritz approach of life,
Oh
you
my
know.
God.
Just saying, you know.
I mean, he should learn. There are lots of things in the sea. Anyways, don't lock down too soon, babe. Okay, so that gives us a sense of his temperament. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, just in terms of just like the, but as Reels also said, I felt that over the weekend he held his composure really well throughout both matches, considering how much of an occasion
Yeah,
it was
he's
for him. I
usually
thought
mess. He's
he did
usually
well.
crazy on court. I'm just like, he tells him
Yeah,
he makes Nick look calm. Like just sometimes, like he makes Nick look like a
times, yeah.
lamb.
But
Yeah.
this week and this week and this week, and I felt like he shouts at himself in there and his record flies in there. But I think that's perfectly normal. That's perfectly okay. But he was not going. He was not looking for extra distractions, and I think that was
Right.
a
Like,
very encouraging sign in terms of just maturity in dealing with that sort of situation and a 12,000 people crowd.
and if he played Nadal like today, I thought he would have like the Nadal that the Zverev that played Nadal and almost lost that match would not have lost that match if this was the same Zverev playing then. If that make any sense.
Maybe,
Like it was.
maybe not.
No, I mean like Zverev now today that I saw this week would have beaten Nadal handedly straight sets. Like, but you know, anyway. Since we last spoke, Mr. Denfeld, we got word of the Maria fallout, and you know we're eager to hear what you have to say.
Huzzah.
Oh man, I think my reaction is very much the same, and I'm not sure if this is surprising to me or not, but my reaction was fairly similar to Chris Evans in terms of first reaction is, oof, wow, 2 years, wow, and then you read the whole thing and you're like,
She's lucky.
and then no, I don't think she's lucky. And then you're like, okay, I see why you pushed for 2 years. And then you look at the whole thing again, and you realize that there are several, let's just say, that the legislative and the executive is by the same people, and that you've got a tribunal consisting of people who are already involved in this anyways. And I think that there are a lot of different aftertastes when it comes to this, when it comes to WADA, when it comes to maybe the motives of the ITF in terms of pushing for 4 years, maybe the ITF being willing to make a stand and showing some strength or some tough love or whatever. And I think, I reckon that she might get CAS to reduce the ban. I think that might be possible, but that document is interesting. It's a whole lot of
Bullshit.
it's a whole lot of very, very interesting stuff. It's just
What does interesting mean?
Me, that God,
We need a little bit more of a description.
Yeah.
Like, did you find was it surprising? Shocking?
I felt the way that the problem for me is with this transcript is that it is written from one organization's perspective, and I believe there is a certain intent in making the accused sound more flippant towards the entire issue than maybe she has been. Maybe.
Well, I mean, okay, I can see that, but
in terms just of the wording, and some of it is just. But it also shows, to me, a sense of very obvious negligence when it comes to this whole drama. The fact that I did not go, the bit about Eisenbart not going on holiday, not being able to review the list, and this sort of stuff, that it just made me go. It just turned my face into very much of a question mark. And overall, I can see why they pushed for 2 years. At first I didn't, but after going through all this, at least I understand why they pushed for 2, maybe even 4 years. But I'm still. The problem for me is also that things are meshed up also in terms of just the way that the tribunal of the members that are on this tribunal, who do they belong to? What are their interests? What are they basically aiming for? And for that reason, I still find it a highly, highly curious case, and also a highly, in a way, of a rather unique case. It's not just.
Because is that a unique wonder for you about the body of the tribunal? Did you worry about the body of the tribunal with Cilic and with all the others, or no? Like, is there something unique and different about this tribunal grouping?
The thing is, I'm not 100% sure what the how the tribunal was set up for Cilic and maybe even Troitsky. I'm not 100% sure what whether that or how much that differed compared to now. But as I said, I just find the 33 pages it was, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Document, it reads almost more flippant than I'd expect someone to be when they are on trial for something.
Well,
you don't go on trial and
it certainly does read like
flip,
the person didn't care.
And but you don't go on trial saying, yeah, well, I don't care. Well, this is not all my fault. You go on trial and say, yeah, this has happened, this happened, this happened. I've made a huge mistake, and that's what we got in the first announcement, and I'm surprised. I don't understand why someone would back down from that and make and turn into and be completely flippant in a hearing that she knew was going to get published anyway. So I think there is a bit of not editorializing, but you have to know. Yeah, you have to.
But
the angle that goes into it, I find.
I hear that, and I can certainly see that. But my other issue, my question to you in that regard is that, just a general question in the sense is that, why didn't they dispute the document? The document is not in dispute. No one is saying that what the document is saying there is any factual errors, that this didn't happen. That they just simply, what came out of it was that what was taken from it, from her own words, was that they didn't find me at fault. They didn't think I intentionally doped.
No, I think.
And therefore, so that was that to me, and that was what was interesting, was that was already, before anything was even said, that was already on the table. That it was already known that she was not going to be questioned along the line of being that you knew that this was on the ban list and therefore took it anyway, because the ITF conceded that point before the tribunal started. So that was said before anything else. So and she just said the same thing in the end. So I mean, I understand. I certainly didn't.
As I said, in total, I understand why they went for something, or why it ended up being something between 1 and 2 years. I totally get that. I totally do understand that. But as I said, I just find the whole
the tone of the tone
of it, and the whole subplots that go into this entire case, they're interesting, and there's a lot of meat to the subplots, in my opinion, in this entire case. And I just don't think that is something that should be glossed over. No one's glossing over the fact that Sharapova has made a big mistake, and has done things very much not by protocol over quite a while. Also in the years, I think, like up until 2015, not writing that medicine down, or disclosing it to medicine, or disclosing
medicine,
or disclosing it to anyone outside of a very small select group of people. No one's denying that. But I don't think that, like, the people should forget that in this entire case, that it is a weird case in a way, and that there are several other subplots going into this, and I still think that as much as Sharapova made a mistake in this, that her getting it 2 years, there is a sense of her being made a bit of an example.
It's interesting because they haven't defined it as a mistake, and I think that's one of the
Well
things
said.
that's been interesting in the media. The language has been about a mistake, which is a really different language
Then a duck cheat. Yeah.
than a direct. They perceived her as directly. They take her as more responsible than most people have been.
Right, and I
Which is
don't understand.
It's
Right.
in contrast to the very presentation that Maria has always had in the media's mindset, which is that she's a very responsible person. So I mean, there's and that's what's striking. The not knowing was a mistake, but I think the body decided that there was some willful
not knowing.
Right, exactly. That you
not
people-
even not willful not knowing, willful not telling. Not knowing.
Willful not knowing and willful not telling.
Yeah,
Well,
the
because,
willful
I
not
mean,
telling, is a
They
big thing.
said, it says right there in the documents, had she disclosed on her doping control papers that she had been taking this, all of this could have been washed away. So, I don't know.
It could have been
I
seen
hear what
as
you're
a
saying,
medicine.
Renee. I get it, and I can appreciate what you're saying, but I don't really think I don't think it was her being painted in a negative light, so to speak. I really think she thought that she was too big to fail, and she knew she fucked up by not reporting what she had been doing for the last 3 years, and she didn't have a leg to stand on walking in. I really think that, and I really think that she probably thought, I'm Maria Sharapova, and I'm not going to get, I'm going to be all right. Somebody's going to make this go away for me, which is ultimately why she kind of sounded stupid in the
And also, there's a lot. I mean, and one of the issues that the tribunal pointed out was that we asked for certain things and we didn't get certain things, and therefore we can only make our decision on what was given to us. And one of the biggest things that they didn't get was the fact that that she never produced the box, and she never said how she was getting it and where she was getting it, and all of that just looks very, very for something that you were getting for over 10 years. That you now can't say where you were getting this medicine from, quote unquote medicine, and also the manner in which it's being used. That to me was the most damning thing of the whole proceeding, was the fact that this was clearly being treated as a PED. Nothing else. It wasn't a medicine. It wasn't some sort of there was no cardiologist involved and everything, and it was just to me, and but you saying this, and apparently everyone else is saying this except us. Apparently.
Well, the thing is that, in my opinion, it reads pretty damning. It reads maybe more damning considering who wrote it. But even if you strip that away, that's the one thing that was, for me, that is, I think, the thing that I led in with. It's still pretty damning when you remove the things that might have been, that when you remove who wrote it, it is still damning. It is still.
Look at the bare facts of the matter.
It's not. It's still not good. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. All right. Well,
That's where I
we
stand
we should probably begin to wrap things
Wrap
up
it
so
up,
that
yes.
Miss Janina can get on with her
Basketball
basketball.
game. Yeah. No, everybody knows we record on a Sunday, Janine.
No, but it's good. I mean, is anything else that you want to tell us about Halle that we miss?
Anything you're looking forward to the following week, this week coming up?
I'm looking forward to Eastbourne. I always look forward to Eastbourne. I always enjoy watching some Eastbourne when I get the time. When it comes to Halle, I think Halle is a very solid. I can't say that because I've never been to Queens, but that's just what many people say who've been to Queens and to Halle. Is that Halle is a very nice, quaint German, small townish alternative with lots of good beer, good pretzels, good food, good waffles and strawberries, and a fun field and a fantastic, that is something that I might have not said yet, a fantastic court one that is very reminiscent of the US Open's old grandstand court. Which is
Andre, get on that for Solely Tennis Travel next year.
Is it reasonably?
I've been. It's lovely.
Is it reasonably priced?
It is reasonably priced. Yes, it's.
Janina, we can all go together. It's great.
Oh yes, and we speak it into existing tennis gods. Let it be done.
Let's go back and watch Federer take back his crown.
Yes, exactly. Zverev, you can
Right.
get it in 2018. Just saying. Yeah, so folks, don't forget to comment below, and we will be, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Podbean, we're on iTunes, we're on YouTube, we're everywhere
apparently.
except a church.
Lord Jesus.
Let us pray
Oh,
for
dear.
So don't
Cleveland.
forget to comment
United.
below, and haters, please, I thought we weren't very controversial this week at all. We weren't.
No.
Yeah, we should be good.
We should
We
be
should be good.
good.
I mean,
Thank
as
you for
we
that,
said,
Renee.
yes, we
Yeah.
basically know everything is fixed except this basketball game that's coming up, which has
Exactly.
been fixed for the Cleveland folks. So
I hope so.
You know.
All in 216.
I'm telling you, people. I tell you, if Cleveland win, I'm telling you, it's gonna be open borders in Ohio. Okay, no more passport, no more visa required to visit, Janina.
You are horrible.
So, folks,
Thanks,
thank you for
Renee.
listening. Thank you,
I
Renee.
thank you,
I know you need
guys.
to get to bed.
I will. Sleeping time.
Okay.
1:30 here.
I thought you were about to tell me that you're about to stay up some more. I was like, no. You need to be in bed. So thank you very much, and folks, thank you for listening. And don't forget that our Wimbledon draw show would be live. We haven't set the time and the date yet, so we will let you know as soon as we do. And if you have any lovely suggestions for themes we can do for our draw show, we welcome them. So we're open to our suggestion comment box below. You can
Generally.
DM us or tweet us or do anything, Send a pigeon, okay? Make sure it doesn't have any bird flu or some shit like that.
All right.
Okay, so thank you very much for listening, and have a good
Ciao,
day. Good
ciao.
night.